What's up, y'all? I'm Reed the Fishmonger, and today we're gonna fillet Jolthead Porgy. Jolthead Porgy is a top-tier, underrated fish locals love. First thing we're gonna do is scale the collars. We're gonna pick up the fin, have your scaler at an angle so that way those teeth are picking up those scales very easily. The reason why we're scaling the collars and not the rest of the fish is we're gonna take the skin off the rest of the fish, and the collars we're gonna remove to cook, and we're gonna leave the skin on those. So we wanna take the scales off so that way the skin is edible. All right, now that we've got the collar scaled, let's get to filleting. First thing we're gonna do is pick up the fin. We're gonna have our knife at a hard angle. Do you see the scales resting on top of the knife there? That's what you want. You don't wanna try cutting through the scales. You want to wedge your knife underneath them and come behind the head at a hard angle. There's a little bit of meat behind the forehead there, and you don't want to miss out on it. Then you're going to twist your knife around, puncture that same spot, and slide down. You went right underneath the collarbone and slid out right behind that pelvic bone. Now we're going to use the tip of our knife right at that opening and slide all the way down on top of the dorsal fin. Now that we have a nice little opening there, we're going to rest our knife right on top of the skeleton and pull towards the head. And look at that, nice and flush with the skeleton, and you let the skeleton guide your knife. That way there's no meat lost. When filleting porgy, I don't like picking up hard on the meat. Porgy's meat, especially Jolthead porgy meat, is very soft and tender, and it's very easy to tear that meat up by lifting on the fillet while you're cutting. So let me show you. So I'm not lifting up hard in the fillet at all. Then with these porgy, another thing to consider is their rib cage is a total pain in the butt to go around. On most fish, we just need to angle the knife a little bit up. Porgy, we need to go even higher of an angle. And there we go. We separated the connection the pin bones make to the ribs. And as you can see, instead of a gentle slope up, it's almost like a 90-degree angle up. Those rib bones jolt up, make it a pain in the butt to go around. The connection the pin bones make to the ribs on porgy is stronger than a lot of other fish. Now that we've broke that connection, we can lift on our fillet a little more without tearing the meat. Tip of the knife on the second side of that center spine, and slide down. Now we can rest our knife right on top of those rib bones and get the rest of our fillet off. Look at that. You've got the ends of the rib bones right there. They did not make it onto our fillet, which is exactly what we wanted. A little bit of membrane right there. We're just going to shave it off. And there you go. You got your beautiful white porgy fillet. Now we're going to flip it over, repeat the process. Pick up the fin, go behind the head at an angle, and we're gonna slide all the way down. Now we're gonna put the tip of our knife right at that opening and slide down right on top of that spine. Rest our knife right on that skeleton and slide down, letting the skeleton guide our knife so we don't lose out on any of that delicious porgy meat. Once we get to the center spine, we don't want to lift up hard on the fillet. It's going to tear up that porgy meat. We're going to stick the tip of our knife at the base of those ribs, and instead of angling our knife slightly up like normal, we're going to go even higher and separate the connection the pin bones make to those ribs. Now we can get a little bit more lift on our fillet without tearing the meat. You can see right here towards the tail, there's already a little bit of tear in the meat because this fish flesh is so soft. Tip of a knife on the second side, slide down. Now we're gonna rest our knife right on top of those rib bones and let those rib bones guide our knife without cutting through the rib bones. We can stick our knife through, and there's the second side of your beautiful Jolthead porgy fillet. Because of the way we went over those ribs, there's no bones in there whatsoever. We still wanna trim off that membrane, and beautiful. Now when I said no bones, I meant no bones in the belly wall. There are still pin bones, and the pin bones on porgy go down a little further than a grouper or a snapper, not as far as a tilefish. When skinning porgy, as you see how clean and white this meat is, the blood, the red, is gonna be between the meat and the skin. So when we skin it, we always want to bring our fillet to the edge of the cutting board so that way our knife can lay flush. We're going to start at a hard angle. That way we can just get a good grip. We want to have a flat knife, and I'll show you why in a second. See the red on that skin? That red would be on the meat if we didn't have a flat knife. If our knife was angled down, like so many people do, all of that red would be on our fillet, and instead we've got this beautiful, clean white Porgy fillet. All that's left now is to take the pin bones out. Use your finger to find the last pin bone. Then we're going to go an inch past it. The reason why we're going to go an inch past it on both sides, the reason why we went an inch past on both sides is so that way when we separate it, there's no bone fragments left in the fillet. It's hard to tell, but these pin bones are at an angle. The base of the bone is further down than the top. So if you find the last pin bone right here and you cut down there, the base is still going to be further down and you would miss out on it if you didn't go an inch past. Now that we got the fillets off of our fish, we still have plenty of meat in this collar area. Now if we were to remove the meat off of this collar and have it be boneless and skinless, there would not be much there. But if we left the bone in and cooked it like a wing, now we're talking. Please don't throw away your Porgy skeletons, especially when they're this large. The meat on these collars is absolutely delicious. It's just as white and buttery as the rest of the fish. So what we want to do is open up to expose the gills. Then underneath the gills is a membrane that attaches the gills to the collar. We want to puncture that membrane with our knife and slide under. That releases the collar. There's a top bone and a bottom bone on this collar. And if you can see right here, this is where it connects. We're going to slide our knife right underneath those two bones, and that releases the rest of the collar. And we already took the scales off. All we need to do now is trim it up a little bit, and this bad boy is ready for the grill. If you had a day out fishing and you have a good handful of these fish, throw them on the grill. You will be popular at the next party. Porgy, when they're this large, have pretty decent cheek meat. I mean, it's gonna be small, but I would rather you not throw it away. And I love utilizing as much of the fish as possible because the more we use of the fish, the less fish we need to take. I know that doesn't look worth the effort, but it takes 2 seconds, and that is a tasty morsel you don't want to miss out on. Porgy is a favorite underrated catch for locals down in the Keys. While they're selling their grouper and snapper at top market price, they're taking these delicious, clean, white meat fish home for themselves. The translucency of this meat and their sweet, mild flavor from eating crustaceans and mollusks make it a no-brainer why this is a local's favorite underrated catch. Hope you guys have a killer day.